Councillor Mike Garnett, Councillor for Old Harlow, can we just take us back on when and why did you get involved in local politics?
Well, I've been involved now for 20 years. I think it started off when I think the local association knocked on my door, can I do some delivery? And it all started from there. I thought, well, I can help here. I can put something back into the community. I was getting close to retiring from working in London, and so I tried to get in. It took me, I think, 3 attempts before I actually got elected, and so I've now been here 19, 20 years. Forgive me for the exact dates, and I enjoy it because it's I like working with people. I like helping people, whether it's, say, as we did just now, this is the way across the road, or whether it's, what about this, or what about this problem here. And I always work on the basis that if somebody sends me an email or phones me, I respond within 24 hours, because I think you need to, because otherwise you fall down on your job.
Are there any particular issues over the last month, year, etc. in Old Harlow that come up, whether once or quite a lot?
Well, the main issues has been obviously the Gildon Way development, the roadway. I think most of my, call it a postbag if you like, or telephone, has been problems over that, whether the builders were making too much noise or starting early in the morning. But I've built up a relationship with Graham's, and I think they've looked at everything I've thrown at them, and we've come up with a solution. At the end of the day, the road's got to be built, and it's going to disturb somebody, but they've done pretty well. So that's probably the main issues. Initially, when they started Gildon Park, that was an issue as well, because it's a farm, nice green fields, and as you may or may not know, I fought against it, and but in front of the inspector, but we lost. The inspector reduced the numbers slightly, but I suppose it's progress.
Your ward, of all the wards though, your ward you could say is one of the wards that is really changing, isn't it? With Old Harlow, with Newhall. I mean, it is such a change, isn't it?
It has changed, and I suppose that's what's hard for people to get used to. You've got all these green fields, and then, as you say, you've got Newhall come on, you've got Gildon Park come on, you've got the possibility, which I'm dead set against, which is the Harlow East, which is the back of Churchgate Street, which will join Newhall. So, but I think rightly we liked Old Harlow because it had green fields, but it's the only green fields probably left in Harlow that could be used for development, and we've got everything, the housing and the road, because the road was a cheap option rather than Northern Bypass, which should be Northern Bypass, and they're going to have to do that eventually.
We see a lot of you in planning. Do you enjoy?
Enjoy,
is that the right word to use? Enjoy planning meetings?
I enjoy planning because you get to. It's one of those committees which you can try and make a difference, and sometimes you can make a difference by persuading either your fellow members on the committee that this is the way it should go, or that's the way it should go, and you're looking at what people want, residents are looking for, whether, sometimes it doesn't always go right. Residents, they don't want the development, especially neighbours. They don't want big developments on their doorstep. And I always encourage them to talk. You should always talk to your neighbours about development, whether it's a small porch or whether it's a large thing. A lot these days you don't need to consult with, but I do thoroughly enjoy that. I think it's a way of getting out of myself, if you like, because I feel you can do something.
You're standing on 2 counts. Now, I'm pretty sure of your role as an Old Harlow councillor. I'm pretty sure of your role in planning. But do we see, if there's a criticism, do we see enough of yourself and the other Conservative Essex County councillors? What are you doing for your allowance?
Well, we have more meetings than Harlow, and they're longer meetings. We have to go to Chelmsford. And we're dealing with different matters. We still have planning, but the planning is generally schools and waste and quarries and things like that. So it's a different level. But we're responsible for the police and for the fire, and as you say, the schools. So a lot of my Essex work is, and as if you may not touch on it, roads. Which if you're not going to touch on it, Edinburgh Way was a problem, but it's now working.
But that was a disgrace, wasn't it? And people felt People felt, oh, it's only Harlow. If it takes 2 or 3 years, it's only Harlow.
No,
Were you there for the people of Harlow?
Absolutely, and that, what people didn't understand, excuse me, was that the reasons for delay were because of the services. You know, BT, gas, we had to wait for them to do their work, and they weren't in a hurry. So we had to stop the work on the road, and therefore it's taken 2 years, whatever it was, I can't remember the exact time now, 2.5 years. But it's now working well. But it wasn't from any fault of Essex. The contractors were there to do the job, and they got on with it as soon as they could get access to pavements or roads.
But as you're talking about roads, I've just come from First Avenue at Montpel's Road.
Montpel's Road, yes.
What are people, Essex Council or Essex County, what are you waiting for? A fatal to happen in which now you're going to take action? Because that is a terrible junction.
Absolutely not. Montpel's Road junction there, it's we've had 1 or 2 local people come on to me about it. It's difficult to, I don't like criticising other drivers, but at the end of the day, is patience is the problem. People are coming out of Montpel's Road into First Avenue, and they get fed up of waiting. Now, there's not an awful lot can be done. They talked about banning a right turn into there, so there's things, but there's not a big, without spending an enormous amount of money, which because it's a thoroughfare, it has to be kept clear. So they don't want another roundabouts in there. They don't want traffic lights in there. And I you know, I'm sorry to say sometimes that, you know, it is. Some of the residents, you know, we're all probably guilty sometimes, you know, that little bit of patience, get up a little bit earlier if you need to.
As we'll stay on the road to one more thing, because I know you're not the minister in charge of the road.
Yes.
However,
Yes.
the potholes.
Potholes.
If the people who did the potholes
Yes.
did repairs to your house, they'd be back every 6 weeks to do it properly. Discuss.
The potholes, we're working extremely hard, and it's a continuous project, the potholes. And Harlow's part of Essex, and it's all over. It's been a very wet winter. It's not been a particularly cold winter, so we're now suffering, but they are catching up. And I like to think, if residents tell me there's a pothole, I will report it straight away. But I think sometimes residents don't always report it. But you know, there are a couple of places which are what they call delaminated, which aren't really potholes as such. But when you get a lot of it, it's a bit flopping around. But otherwise, you know, we are working hard, and you know, there you know, if you up and down the country, you'll find that Conservative councils repair far more potholes than Labour councillors do.
But Mark Ingall's got a campaign now, hasn't he? The leader of Harlow Council regarding potholes, and would you support his campaign?
Not really. No. I know what Essex do, and over the last 2 years, Essex have given all us local councillors twice now. We've had 50 potholes. We've named 50 potholes, and they will be fixed. And I would go round and try and find 50 potholes. So twice we've done that. And added to that, we've also done footpaths. We've done 50 footpaths. So it's a bus length would be the sort of thing we want to look at, you know. And so, you know, I feel that nothing's perfect. We're doing as much as we can and as quickly as we can. But, you know, I wouldn't. It's okay for Mark Ingles to criticise us, but, you know, he needs to look at the real story. Not just jump on, you know, stand around a pothole and say, look at this. Has it been reported? You know, we've done the cycle tracks. We're spending £200,000 on cycle tracks. Now he brought that subject up, and quite rightly so. And the cycle tracks was something that had got left behind. But Harlow owned 10%. They never fixed their 10%. They have now, and Essex are doing theirs. So we've got more money on cycle tracks coming into Harlow now than any other town in Essex.
Okay, and finally, if you get in, you're looking forward to doing the next 4 years. You can continue to commit yourself to your residents, your constituents.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I enjoy it. I want to get. I think I need to get into, or the Conservatives need to get into Harlow Council. I think the current is gone tired. You know, we need to cut council tax. There is no need to put council tax up. You know, it's a false economy, if you like. And if you look at the history, the ratepayers of Harlow are now paying nearly £400 a year extra in council tax that has cumulatively added up over the years. So that, I think, would be, if we could get into power, if the residents vote for us and we get into power, that would be our first objective, would be to cut council tax and look at the systems, and we can get rid of waste. Essex have done it. Essex have saved an awful lot of money, but not by cutting services. They've kept all the services, and in fact some of them have improved because they've looked at the more of the whole and how can we better service the residents for it.